always the task of where is this going? Where it won't roll off. They're not. How about that? Okay, there we go. Thank you. Good morning, beloveds. Doing double duty. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, beloveds. And good morning, those of us who are joining us on Facebook. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We have been talking about the 4 agreements. And we're talking about the 4 agreements because we're looking at how to evolve our greatest life. And the first agreement that we talked about was be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean, do what you say, be impeccable with your word. The second agreement we talked about last time was don't take anything personally, because it really isn't about you. When people talk to you or say anything to you, they're really coming from their own place of reference. So you don't need to take anything personally. And today we're going to talk about not making assumptions. And I had such a wonderful time putting this talk together because I don't know if I should share this with you or not, but I made a number of assumptions throughout my life. And so I got a lot of experiences to share with you, stories about making assumptions. And then the final one that we'll be talking about is always do your best. Always do your best. And with these 4 agreements, then we will have the great life that we're looking for. So the talk today is about, it's called the Big Matote, which means chaos. We're just creating chaos and drama when we make assumptions. And so the third agreement is about not making assumptions, not assuming. We assume because there's a lack of comprehension. We don't really understand. We're making assumptions that we're understanding something we don't. And so we're asking not to do that. I remember one of my favorite movies, The Big Chill. Jeff Goldblum, he was saying something, he was rationalizing something. And someone said to him, you know, you're always rationalizing things. And he said, well, everybody rationalizes, where would you be without a juicy rationalization? And we all do the same thing with assumptions. We make assumptions. And so we're going to be talking about why we do that and you know, where it comes from and when we want to let it go. And I remember when I met my good friend when I was over in Thailand, and I may have spoken with you about her, I may not. Her name was Kim. Kim is such a Thai name. Apanachai, I think is what it is. Anyway, I just call her Kim. And I got to Thailand before Jason did. He was in Saigon finishing up the job he was doing, so I moved there to start some business. And so I put the band together and I met Kim, and I was in this club. I was doing some music, and her whole entourage. She always followed me everywhere I went. She was a big supporter. And I told her, I said, when Jason's in town visiting, and so he's going to come tonight. And so Jason, my husband, showed up, and she looked at me and she says, that can't be your husband. What? She's not. And she never explained why it couldn't be. But I said, no, it's definitely my husband. And we got that a lot, Jason and I. How is this working? How are you two together? Now, I don't know what it is that people saw in me or what assumptions they were making about him, but we got that all the time. And it was never clear to me what exactly people thought was going on, but they're making some assumptions. But the problem with assumptions is that it creates a lot of drama. It just creates a lot of drama and chaos in our lives. And we don't need that. When I was, before I went to Vietnam, I told a lot of stories about Vietnam because I learned a lot by being there. And it took me a long time to go. My husband talked to me about going for over 20 years. He's the one that wanted to go. He was a Vietnam vet. And he'd flown helicopters, and he knew how beautiful the land was. And he was telling me, we should go, we should go, we should go. Well, here's the assumption I was making about Vietnam. First of all, didn't we go to war with them? Aren't they our enemy? So we don't like them. Do they like us? And besides that, it's a war-ravaged country. Well, that was an assumption I made. I got there, and the war was some 25, 30 years ago, so it wouldn't still be war-ravaged, right? That was crazy. It was a beautiful place. it was a civil war, so half of them fought with us. So they loved us. They loved Americans, and I'll talk to you about some assumptions they made about Americans, but so I was wrong about that. And I didn't go for the longest time because of an assumption I made about who these people were and whether they were going to receive me well. And I would have missed out. I would have missed out on a beautiful place, a beautiful country, and beautiful people that I spent a lot of time with. That's the assumption that I made. When we make assumptions, we create inner conflict as well because we have self-assumptions about ourselves. We talked about that a lot this morning in our artist swing class, about things we believe about ourselves, assumptions we make about what we can and can't do, about who we are or are not. And they may or may not be based in reality. They may just be something that someone told us some time ago when we were a child and we took it on. Whether it was good or bad, doesn't matter. We'll be talking about how we're going to take a look at those assumptions and decide whether or not we want to keep those assumptions and whether they actually are true for us as we move forward in this talk. I have a young woman who I think is a beautiful woman. She has a lovely family, a couple of boys, and all guys in her family, 2 boys and her husband. She's the only woman in the family. And her thing to me is that she wants to be a good mom. And I said, okay, so what is a good mom to you? And she said, well, being a good mother means, I have the food on the table, and I keep the house nice and clean, and I help with the finances of the house and things of this nature. But her house is always a mess. She doesn't get the food on the table on time, and consequently, she thinks she's a bad mother. She never bothered to ask herself the question, why are you the only one responsible for keeping the house clean when you're not the only one there? Right? Yeah. Why is it your job? How are you supposed to keep it clean and be when you're working 2 jobs trying to help the finances? Those are the questions she never asked herself. She just assumes, without looking at it and asking herself questions and thinking about it, that she's a bad mom. And she really isn't. She's the most loving person I've ever known. She really is. So we have inner conflicts when we make these assumptions. And so my question is, what assumptions are you making? What assumptions do we all make? We make assumptions about what people are thinking. Have you ever had anyone just like frowning? Is there a story behind it? I mean, do you come up with a story about why that person is frowning? Consequently, do you come up with a story about someone smiling? Hey, they like them. Oh, what's wrong with them frowning? Oh, they have a bad day. What's wrong with them? We just create all kinds of stories. How about this? What if you're cut off in traffic? You think you have some stories in? Some assumptions you're making? Do you think this? When someone cuts you off, do you think this? Oh, poor baby. Must be having a bad day. Please be my guest. That's what we all think, right? Or do we think this? Are you trying to ruin my day? You must be a jerk. There's all kinds of stories we can come up with, right? Because someone cuts us off in traffic. So we're constantly creating stories that we don't really know about because of assumptions that we make. What other assumptions do we make? We make assumptions about what other people believe. We are a tribe. We come together because we are of like minds. But does it mean that we actually believe exactly the same way about everything? Even when we talk about new thought, different people have different ideas about how God shows up in their lives, and that's okay. But in order to know that, we have to ask a question. We can't just make an assumption about it. I had a class that I've taken recently, and the instructor, we always saw the instructor, but we never saw the instructor's wife. And so we saw a picture of the instructor and his wife. And the comments in the class were, oh, she doesn't look like anything like I expected. We don't even know anything about this person. I mean, she's never taught a class. What did you expect? So we already, without having any information, you had a picture in your mind, or many of them did, about what this one was supposed to look like, maybe based on what he looked like, maybe based on what he was saying. They have no idea. But that's what many of them said, oh no, she doesn't look like that either. Interesting. So we already have ideas about what people are going to look like, what they believe. From what basis? From what basis do we get this information? From our own understanding. And we also have assumptions about relationships, about people. we have people, a lot of my sister and brother-in-law, they are relationship counselors. They marriage counselors. Their minister would not marry anyone unless they've gone through my sister and brother-in-law's 4-week class about this. And married couples have a lot of assumptions, like how many children, if any, I mean, that you want to have. What you think of finances is a huge issue for couples, and they don't actually talk about it before they get into a relationship. They just assume that we're going to have the same ideas about relationship because we love each other. And that's another assumption. Because we love each other, everything's going to work out just fine. And maybe it will. Maybe it will, because you made some assumptions that it could be true. But what if they're not true? Then what happens? You got some fight on your hands. You have some problems because we made some assumptions and we never talked about it before we went ahead and got married. So we just make a lot of assumptions that we don't even realize that we are. I talked with you guys about many travels that I've had as an adult, but I also had a lot of travels as a child because my father was in the military. And so I love to travel. I thought it was great meeting people. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I actually love meeting people. I love hugging other people and hi, how you doing, what you're all about, what language is that you're speaking. I love it. And so did my whole family. We all love to travel. Or so I thought. This was the assumption I made. Well, we were at a family reunion, and I was going on like I do about what a great time we had traveling and this and that. And I said, I'm just stopping right now. I'm tired of that story. What? What's there? I didn't like traveling. I hated it. Are you kidding? And then my babysitter chimed in. Yeah, me too. What? Yeah, my brother, none of them liked it. I was the only one that did. I was the only one that did because I was having a good time. I assumed you did too. But they weren't. And Jason and I, like every 2 or 3 years, we go someplace else. My family, my sister has been in the same house for the last 25 years. They don't move. They follow. They didn't like moving. I didn't know that. And so, what is it we don't know? What assumptions are we making? What stories are we telling, including other people in it, that have nothing to do with them? They have no idea that you're talking about that, or that you believe that, or they do. Maybe and we talked about this in class this morning. You know, maybe people are just nodding and letting you tell the story, but have no agreement with you whatsoever. They're just going, oh man, that's her telling that story again. Just going on. They don't want to stop you. So we make assumptions about a lot of things, and particularly around our loved ones. There's a lot of assumptions being made about us as Americans, but assumptions in America. What do we make assumptions about? What assumptions do we make about women? Have you guys seen this woman? I think it's a young black woman who's now a college football player.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Exactly. I would have said before then that we could only do powder puff, or that the woman wouldn't be able to play with a man, with men. But that's what she's doing. It takes the groundbreaker to change our thinking, because a number of things about why we say what we say is because of what we see. The experience that we haven't seen anything different. So we're assuming the whole world and our world is like that. But it's not. So we have assumptions about women, that women have been breaking for out of the home. What assumptions do we have about young people? So, I hear a lot of talks about millennials. And I'm one of them. I say, my grandson's a millennial, and I'm not going to tell you about that stuff he just did. We're not going to talk about that. But that's the thing about young people. And what about old people? What do you think young people are saying about old people? Oh, a lot. Right? And I had someone say, and I thought it was a beautiful thing that I was told, and I love it. When you get older, you become invisible to other people. And they fight against that to stay relevant, because they are. But other people think that you're not. And so this is an issue that older people deal with. They have something still to say. Who's listening? And they need people to listen, because they have a lot of wonderful, we have a lot of great things to say. So There's all kinds of assumptions that we make, and we want to try to take a look at what those are, what white people do, what white people do. We were at Jubilee the other day watching a great, I think we were watching a homology, I think it was the last thing we saw there. And yeah, because my friend Bill was in town, so I got a phone call. We were on break, and I got a phone call, so I ran outside to take the phone call, because it's from my knucklehead grandson. And Garrett and my friend Bill were standing there, and I saw them, but I went out the door. So I came back in and stood and talked with them, and Garrett said, "Oh, you didn't see me." And I said, "Oh, you white people look like, of course I didn't see you."
White people look like.
I was kidding.
Yeah.
I actually was kidding. He's tall, so I can.
He's a tall person.
He's tall, but I can. But I mean, it's not what we say, all white people look like all whatever it is. They all do whatever you think they do. All black people are happy or tap dance. I don't know what all the things that we say. Right? All Italians drink wine. Right? There you go. See? The Italians will affirm that, though. They will affirm it. But this is the thing. We have so many. We'll all laugh and agree, but there are common assumptions that we make. You'd be surprised at the assumptions that people make about Americans when I travel and things that people say about Americans. So I shared it with you because I didn't know these until I got there. The problem with groupthink is that it's group behavior to think about that we know what a group that we're not a part of is about, right? We can ask that group what they think this is about. We can't actually make that assumption. We can't tell them what they're about because it doesn't account, not only do we not know because we're not in a group, whatever that group may be, but it doesn't also account for free will, individualism. Just because you belong to a group, just because you're a poor person doesn't mean you can't become a rich person. Or if you're a rich person doesn't mean you can't become a poor person. Doesn't mean you can't become or change or move around. So we can't we can't look at a person by their visuals, say what they are, who they're about, or make assumptions about them. It's not a loving thing to do, it's a root behavior. Some of the things that I was told and that I got, and some of it was quite funny, about Americans when I was traveling is, number one, that we are devoted to being individuals. You know, we have this whole Texas cowboy mentality. When I tell people I'm from Dallas, from Texas, I always got this, ooh, all the time, I'm not kidding. That's what they think about Texas. You know, we're just shooting up cowboys out here. That we believe that all people are created equal. That is in our documents. That's what we believe. And we have a hard time actually making it happen, but we do believe it in the core of who we are as Americans. That we're all created equal. We all have a right to the things that we do here in America. We all have it right. We all believe that, and that's true. That's what I love. That we're quite informal with each other, even with strangers. We're very informal. I was at an event last night, and it was all over. It was wonderful. It was a Cirque du Soleil, and so there was all this acrobatic stuff on this high tent. And so myself and Kim Andrews, my daughter, we were walking out, and Kim was saying something about how acrobatic they were, how strong they were, balanced, and whatever. And then the lady next to us, who had just a complete stranger, she said, "I was so afraid." She's got into conversations. "I'm so afraid they were gonna fall." I said, "I hear you." It was so. I said, "We just got to we all know each other." I have those conversations at supermarkets, and we are very informal. And particularly here in Texas, which I love. I love that about us, but that's a strange thing to foreigners, that we do that. The other thing, the final thing that they said to me was that we're very assertive, Americans. So and this came up because I was involved in a show that we did. It was a beautiful warehouse that they turned into a stage, and it was full of people. It was always hot, and they had drinks, but when I'm working, I don't want to drink. I just want water. So their water was terrible. So I just would go to the store, like their Costco, and pick up a whole, just 24 things of water and drink it. So the first time I did, I just brought it in, and my lead guitar singer and guitar player, who's also Australian, he said, she shook her head and said, "So American." What's American about that? I don't know. I guess it's taking charge. I have no idea. But he said, "But I didn't just bring one. I brought it for everybody." But anyway, that was so American. So I don't know what that means, but everybody has things that they talk about that they assume about other people. So the question becomes to me, why do we make assumptions? Why do we do that? One of the reasons is because we as human beings, We need to make sense of our world. We categorize things. We say, well, this is that, this is that. It gives us a sense of control over our environment. Even if what we're talking about isn't true, it's true for us. And it gives us some kind of peace of mind to say, this is what, we got to analyze things and put them in where they belong. We need to explain things. We also have preconceived notions about things, and we also think we know. When we know what we know. But the thing is, the biggest thing is because we just need to control our environment. But this is true again. Control is an illusion. Who's controlling whom?
The devil.
Right? It is an illusion. We don't control anything. We don't. So how do we stop assumptions? How do we stop it? If I made a case for making assumptions and why we shouldn't, and I hope that I have, then the question would obviously become, how do we stop them? How do we stop making assumptions? One of the best ways, I believe, is to really just start listening. When someone's talking, when someone's talking, we are already talking in our heads about the response. Are we not? Is that true or not?
Yes.
I mean, it is. It's just how we do it. Someone's talking and we're already, what's my response? Yeah, exactly. And so you're just waiting for them to be quiet. So and we talked about this in one of the agreements not to do that. So one of the things is actually fully listening to someone and what they're talking about. Because when you actually fully listen, you begin to see that you didn't know something. And you can actually begin to ask a question. If you're talking in your head, it's because you already think you know where they're going. You already think you know what they're saying. Oh, is it not on? Did I not turn it on? Sorry. You already think you know where they're going. Let me turn this, put this, move it around. All right, there we go. Can you hear that? We're breaking everything. Sorry. All this stuff in your ear, you still couldn't hear tonight. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, we got some little things we got to fix. But we need to, it's effort, it takes effort to listen. We have to pay attention when we listen to other people. We also have to challenge what we think. We have to challenge our assumptions. We have to be willing to challenge our assumptions. We have to be willing to ask a question. We have to assume, and this is the paradox that I'm saying, don't make assumptions. But to change assumptions, we have to have one assumption. We have to assume that differences exist within people, and we have to look for those differences. We also want to become aware of where we're biased. What are we bringing to the table? And is that something that they're bringing to the table? We can't assume that. That's part of the problem with married couples. Or people that are about to get married. Or people that are going into any kind of relationship, whether it's a friendship relationship, whatever. You're making assumptions because maybe you're in the same place, like we're here all together in this center, or we're all together in a class. We make assumptions because we're all there together and that we have some beliefs together, but that is not necessarily the case. And so we just want to question them. We just want to ask them questions. It's not a bad thing. We're not in trouble. We just want to be aware. This is about mindful living and loving. And so we just ask some questions, but the question becomes, why don't we ask? I was at a play the other night, and that whole Texas Friendly thing, so we just struck up a conversation, people next to us. I mean, me, I'm by myself, I'm just striking up a conversation, you know the name, Joseph, Paul, and Laura. Struck up a conversation with him, and he was talking about a job that he has, and when he was down in Houston, and these railheads that he had to go out to go see. I'm like, I'm sorry. And he said railheads, in my mind I'm thinking, and I wasn't going to ask because I didn't want to look stupid, because I thought, is that something everybody knows? But I thought, I don't know. And so, hey, Joe, what is the railhead? Oh, yeah. He said, I didn't know it either when I first started working. It's already confirmed, you know, and it's just where, I guess, where they stop and pick up things. A railhead is where a company will stop and pick up things from a railroad company. So that's what a railhead is. But you don't want to feel stupid. You just, I'm not stupid for knowing across my forehead. Right? Do I look like that? I don't care. I don't want it. So that's the reason why we don't. And again, the problem with assumptions is that it's just a lot of drama. We just create a lot of drama and chaos in our lives when we make assumptions. Like with my family. I'm thinking that they're one way and they're another. And how many years were they pissed off at me for making it? Every time I tell that story. Every time I tell that story. And you know me, I told it a lot. I'm making assumption we're all going to go together, right, kids? No. So, how do we do it? to look somebody in the eye when you're talking, shut up, and listen to them while they speak. Do you know what it feels like? No. Okay, everybody, top scale. You don't even know what it's like. It's a beautiful, you might want to question your company as well. But anyway, it's a beautiful thing. It's a loving thing. It says to someone, I value what you have to say. You are important enough for me to get out of my own head and get into your heart. Right? That's what it says. When you listen to someone with full intention and attention. So we ask questions, we make an effort to be good listeners. And we stop making assumptions. When we stop making assumptions, when we actually assume that we are all different, that we're all coming from someplace different, and it's all good, and I want to know about that. We create the world we're looking for, that we all envisioned, where we all love each other and we get along, and we think that everything you do is fabulous. I behold Christ, God in you. When I look at you, I see how wonderful you are. I do. That's what we want. That's the world we create, and we don't make assumptions. That was fine.